Trump was like, no, I remember. What you said, not nice. And like immediately the next day, he would work with them on whatever project that they were working on together. Do you get what I'm saying? For a long time in America, it's been that way. One party is trying to destroy another candidate or another person on the other side, and they still work with them. So for instance, like Obama's a good example. Republicans ran around calling him a secret Muslim.
What happens when a comedian shows receipts of a politician's complete personality transplant? Total meltdown, that's what. Trevor Noah didn't just make fun of JD Vance. He pulled out the man's old tweets and interviews where he trashed Trump, creating the political equivalent of showing someone's embarrassing middle school photos. The MAGA crowd is calling it a deep state comedy cartel attack, whatever that means. But we're calling it what it is, a politician getting caught wearing different faces for different crowds. And Trump's reaction, let's just say the White House furniture would have been flying if he was still in office. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Trevor Noah's recent takedown of JD Vance on The Daily Show wasn't just comedy gold, it was a masterclass in exposing political hypocrisy. Remember when JD Vance was the anti-Trump guy, the one who thought Trump was basically the worst thing to happen to American politics? Well, Noah didn't just mention this transformation, he brought the receipts. What made Noah's segment so devastating wasn't fancy jokes or clever wordplay, but something much simpler. Playing Vance's own words back to him.
Like fundamentally, it's like a relationship, you know what I mean? It's like Trump is going like, no, like we just fought in the living room, and then now you get in the bedroom and the Democrats are like, so you want to do infrastructure? And like immediately the next day, he would work with them on whatever project that they were working on together. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, Democrats accused George Bush of stealing the election, but then afterwards they were like, yeah, we're still gonna help you to invade Iraq. You know? And I mean, that's pretty much what American politics is. Just for that meeting, and like just came in there and he was like, yo soy capitan.
Noah showed clip after clip of Vance absolutely trashing Trump, juxtaposed with his current fawning behavior. It was basically political whiplash caught on camera. 1 minute, Vance is saying Trump is terrible for America, and the next, he's practically asking for an autograph on his forehead. The transformation Noah highlighted wasn't your standard political flip-flop where someone changes their mind on tax policy. No, this was more like Vance went into some secret laboratory and emerged as a completely different human being. One day, he's writing that Trump is noxious and reprehensible, and the next he's nodding along to every word Trump says like one of those bobblehead dolls you'd put on your car dashboard. What's really fascinating is how Noah let the contrast speak for itself. He didn't need to add much commentary when the before and after Vance clips were so jarring. It's like watching someone who was allergic to peanuts suddenly open a peanut butter factory and claim they've always loved the stuff. The audience wasn't just laughing, they were gasping at the shamelessness of it all. And boy oh boy did Trump get mad. According to reports, after seeing Noah's segment, Trump went completely ballistic. Imagine being so upset about someone showing videos of things your running mate actually said that you start making angry phone calls. Trump reportedly called Vance multiple times demanding explanations.
You get what I'm saying? Like Trump is like, you just said you're gonna investigate me and maybe impeach me, and now you wanna talk to me about, and he's like, no. And they're like, yeah, that was a separate meeting. He's like, nuh-uh. The whole time I was watching that, I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if Trump like practiced a few like key phrases in Spanish. Trump was like, no, I remember. What you said, not nice. But if you just think of him as a human being, you understand that he can't compartmentalize.
I can just picture Trump, face getting redder than usual, shouting into the phone, "You said what about me?" But the MAGA crowd's response might be even funnier than Trump's meltdown. Instead of acknowledging that, yes, Vance did completely change his position on Trump, they invented this bizarre conspiracy theory about a deep state comedy cartel. Because obviously the only reason a comedian would show video evidence of a politician contradicting himself is because of some shadowy organization pulling the strings. Not, because it's literally a comedian's job to point out absurdity. The whole saga reveals something pretty fundamental about modern politics. Some politicians think voters have the memory span of goldfish. They believe they can say one thing on Monday, the complete opposite on Tuesday, and nobody will notice or care. But Noah wasn't having any of that. His segment worked because it wasn't just pointing fingers, it was holding up a mirror. What's particularly clever about Noah's approach is how he let Vance's words do the heavy lifting.
And in that moment, I don't know if you noticed, he even like becomes sort of, it sounds like he's trying to do like a Mexican without even realizing it. He's like, it's been loco, they treat me crazy. That's fundamentally what it is. And I honestly get where he's coming from as a human being, like in that way. Because like what's weird, it has been for me for a long time, especially with American politicians, but politicians in general is they have this weird rhythm of how they deal with love and hate. Yeah, it'd be like, yeah, I mean, I don't like what they said, but I gotta work, we gotta work towards healthcare. We gotta do this thing. Fundamentally, look at what happened here. The Democrats had a meeting where they were talking about him possibly obstructing justice, investigating him, etc.
There's no need for elaborate jokes when the punchline is reality itself. Noah basically said, here's what Vance said then, here's what he says now, you figure it out. And figure it out, the audience did, erupting with laughter that carried an undertone of, are you serious right now? So how did JD Vance go from comparing Trump to Hitler to becoming his loyal soldier? The answer isn't complicated. Cold, hard political calculation. Vance looked at the numbers, saw he couldn't win without Trump's base, and decided his principles were less important than his political ambitions. As Noah suggested in his segment, Vance essentially auctioned off his spine on eBay to align himself with Trump.
That line was honestly one of the funniest things I've ever heard him say, where he said, the press has treated me so badly, folks, so badly, it's been local. For a long time in America, it's been that way. One party is trying to destroy another candidate or another person on the other side, and they still work with them. So for instance, like Obama's a good example. Republicans ran around calling him a secret Muslim. Stand Trump as just a human being, which I know is hard, I know it's hard. And then the next meeting they have is with him to talk about infrastructure. And he's like, no, you can't just do that.
In one particularly biting moment, Noah described Vance's transformation as if he'd traded his integrity for votes in some political garage sale. The comedy wasn't just in the punchlines, it was in the absurdity of watching someone completely reinvent themselves for power, thinking nobody would call them out on it. So, what's the big takeaway here? Noah's comedy did something regular news just can't do. He didn't need fancy analysis or expert panels. He just held up a mirror to JD Vance's words and let everyone see the joke for themselves. That's the pure genius of comedy in politics. When politicians think they can reinvent themselves without consequences, comedians become the ultimate fact checkers. Trump's meltdown proves it works too. Nothing hurts a powerful person more than becoming the punchline. The Vance situation teaches us something important. In politics, receipts matter, and somewhere, a comedian is always waiting, ready to read them aloud.